everybody, on a Thursday edition of Coast to Coast. Got Philly the Sports guy. Man, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Messing up the intro. I like it. Yeah. How you guys doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It's been a weird day. I was going into the last show yesterday, and there is a leak in our upstairs shower, and it just so happens that leak is directly over my studio. So that is super helpful. So the brain is a little scattered.
So it sounds like you're saying that there's a conspiracy that they may have cut the pipe.
Oh, it's Comcast. Comcast came in my house, cut the pipe, created the leak. Absolutely. But yeah, so after the shows today, I actually have to cut the ceiling out to see exactly what kind of damage is in the ceiling. Unfortunately, in the room I record in. So got that going for me.
Get plastic. Get lots of plastic.
Lots of plastic. It's actually where the tinfoil hats could come in handy.
What? Exactly. And everybody may wonder why I go ahead and I said I'd like to do a conspiracy show today. I am looking for sports conspiracies, as I'm going to be choosing a few of them. And who knows, if you give me an obscure one, because we all know like the main 10 that are out there kind of and stuff like that. But if you give me an obscure one, it's possible it may get used in a film that I could potentially be in. I'm leaving it very vague right now because, I mean, obviously we haven't started filming or anything, so the writing is still being completed. But it's going to be one of the first films filmed in Delaware since Dead Poet Society.
Wow, it's been a minute.
That's a long time.
It has been a minute. So this is actually a full feature film that will be actually done in Delaware.
Nice. No fighting. What?
So I think he's talking about how this
Jay's
one
not on the show.
Yeah, this one guy keeps
Oh yeah.
like trying to. I don't know what the guy means, and I can't message him. He's got multiple sclerosis, and he wants to throw down with me. Not exactly sure what. Yeah, I'm like I don't know what that means, but I'm glad he got his teeth fixed because he had no teeth for a long time.
Yeah, it was the guy that was in the comment section yesterday, right?
Yeah, it's I got to assume that's what Chris is talking about. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, so on that note, before we get into it, why are the weirdest ones, like the borderline stalker weird, why are they always on Facebook? You ever notice that?
Because they're old.
Is that the thing? Because I mean,
I've
had to block a few like super odd. We'll go odd, and it's always Facebook.
Yeah, you know what? X has a lot of them too.
Yeah, but they don't come on the show. They'll send you weird stuff within X, but like Facebook people want to jump on the show and do it, which is interesting.
So there's always people that are threatening, like, oh, you got this going on, or you got this going on. I'm just saying it. Oh, it must be true. Oh, just because you say it, it must be true. You know what I'm saying? You all are fucking douchebags, is what you are.
So, I mean, that's how the internet works, right? If you see it, it's real.
Right, exactly. So I said it. It must be true. So, anyways,
man.
So here we're, so to get it started, I actually have a couple of Philadelphia conspiracies that I was going to share with you guys, and I want you guys to think about how this is. Number one.
You're a bozo.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You've seen what this guy looks like. Go back into his history and see when he didn't have his teeth, and would wear a mask. And he sounds like this. He sounds like this. Yeah. It's just like, hey, listen, I don't bag on other Eagles fans. And I don't go to say, well, I want to throw down with another Eagles fan. But if this douchebag thinks he's got something funny to prove because he wants to try to get some followers, go to town. You know, I don't understand
Exactly.
what your point is or what you're trying to do, but go do it, buddy. Have fun. Win awards. You know what I mean? Anyways, here was my very first conspiracy. And I know like some of these people haven't heard this one, but this was a good one. So this is back in 1980. This is back in 1980. Uh, the Flyers were playing the Islanders in um, the Stanley Cup because playoffs worked so much different than hockey back then. They were in the same division and they wound up playing for the Stanley Cup because it really was whoever the best team was, best two teams in the league.
I mean, I don't hate that.
No, I don't either. But it made for an odd time. So, anyways, 1980, there was a unique offsides call that immediately led to a goal that if it was done in today's NHL, it would not be allowed. But Leon Stickle, who was the linesman for that game, did not call the offsides, and the goal was allowed. A little before that, the referees allowed a goal that was also above the shoulders. They hit the puck above the shoulders and scored a goal. So there were two goals in that game that really shouldn't have been allowed. The Flyers lost 5-4 in overtime that game, and in essence lost the Stanley Cup because had they won that game, it would have gone to a Game 7. But here's the big deal. Obviously, this happened in late May, and it was like May 24th. The next game, they would have had a day off, and the next game would have been back in Philadelphia on Memorial Day. So the referees didn't want to work on the holiday, and they decided to allow these goals.
When you want to go home, you want to go home.
Right.
So, but obviously they were blown calls, both of them, and both, you can go back and watch the video, both were absolutely blown calls, but that was the reason why they were blown, because they didn't want to work on the holiday.
I mean, all right. I mean, so there's one for this season that I think is hilarious. That the NFL is paying Tua to take a dive to force the Guardian caps.
There's some people that are wearing these Guardian caps already.
Of course.
You've seen them on the field.
Absolutely.
But they're
voluntary currently.
Huh?
They're voluntary currently.
I understand that, but actually, the way that you can't even tell.
Yeah, unless they zoom in, I mean, they got them colored pretty well. But basically they're insinuating that the NFL wants to force everyone to do it, and they're trying to use Tua to do it.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. I have a couple of football ones, a couple of football conspiracies.
I have one from basketball from a while ago.
Yeah, what do you
Go
got?
ahead. Which one you got?
When the Chicago Bulls drafted Derrick Rose #1, they had the lowest draft or lowest lottery odds to get him. Derrick Rose is from Chicago. Everyone knew he was going to be the #1 pick. They wanted to make Chicago relevant again because they weren't relevant since Michael Jordan.
Too bad that didn't work out.
Well, I mean, it did work out for the first 4 years until his knee blew up. But look at what happened to Chicago the moment they drafted him. They ended up with the best record in the East 3 years in a row, and that market started to grow again for basketball, which is what they wanted.
Well, I mean, there's a bigger one than that. Actually, you go back to 1985, where you have the whole frozen envelope, or the bent corner envelope that allowed the Knicks to wind up have the first pick in the draft to pick Patrick Ewing. So, I mean, that's one that has been floating around forever. So, yeah, I got to imagine there's lots of those. I feel that they do that for Chicago. The NHL does it for Chicago every time Chicago needs a pick.
Mm-hmm.
including this past year. You know what I mean? It's when they got Bedard.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Let's go back for before that. The Flyers were also in the link for that, or in the mess for that. Actually, the Flyers had the worst record in the league and should have gotten what was his name? Toes. Instead, we got JVR as the second pick in the draft. And you guys go on to win 2 Stanley Cups, one of them against us.
For everyone watching, if you have a sports conspiracy that you find awesome, drop it in the chat.
So one of the big ones was the curse of Williams Penn's hat. That the moment they built a building that went above William Penn's hat, because there was a gentleman agreement, I guess, when they built City Hall, was that no building would ever rise above the brim of William Penn's hat. And ultimately, they built a building. So it's like in 1980s we were doing well, but in I think it was like 84, 85 was Penn Plaza finally opened, and that was above the hat. And then, so when they built the Comcast building, they actually had a William Penn statue that was going to go on the top of that, and somebody stole it. They stole that William Penn statue. So they wind up putting this little itty bitty figurine that they bought at the store, at the store over at and put it on top. And, now it worked because in 2008 we won the World Series. Then they built a bigger building. So Comcast doesn't have the biggest dick in the sky. It's another building. And they put another little figurine on the very top of that. After that, the Eagles won.
It may be big, but based on their connectivity, it's never hard.
Right. And then and then after that, they put that little figurine on top. The Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017. It's rumored that in 2021, that somebody went up there and stole it. So that's the conspiracy was that's why everybody lost in 2022. That somebody went up there and stole the figurine, the William Penn figurine that was on the top of the building, and consequently, all 3 Philadelphia teams lost the championship.
Yeah. So here we go. We got a couple. So this one, a lot of people believe, and it's not just helping them win. They're basically leaning all the way in that they're engineering a three-peat.
So they're engineering all the injuries that the Chiefs take on and all these players that they bring in, and Mahomes can do this with little.
I mean, when you look at their injuries, they actually have quite a bit fewer than most other teams. So, I mean, you can call them out, but at the end of the day, they actually don't have crazy injuries when you look around the league.
That's the one that I was just about to bring up, what Paul just brought up.
Yeah,
that's circulating forever.
That's a real one, though. You could call that a conspiracy. That ain't a conspiracy. Because the truth of the matter is that, okay, I'm going to get away from basketball for a minute, and I'm going to buy a minor league team and play baseball.
Yeah.
I'm tired of baseball. I'm going to go back and play basketball. And look how well this jersey fits me. You know what I mean? Like it was all ridiculous.
Well, and everybody is familiar with how much he likes to gamble. So it's not like this is a far reach to believe that it's true. You're just like, oh, he was going to get suspended for gambling. He gambles at literally any opportunity he can. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, that tracks.
Exactly. That is exactly correct. So here was one of my favorite ones. Were you here, Stat Guy, when I was telling this one?
Which one?
This one involves Chicago. That the Fog Bowl.
The frozen ice or the dry ice or whatever?
The dry ice. Yeah. The Fog Bowl was created by the bar across the street buying 2 tons of dry ice and just having the hose put on it because it was a fairly warm day and there was no problems whatsoever. They bought 2 tons of dry ice and put the hose
See,
on it.
and all they had to do was hit up the Wild Wings and get the remote. They could have saved themselves all that effort. They'd just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we want overtime." Bam.
Yeah, I mean, as ridiculous as it sounds, I wouldn't put it past people from Chicago. Like it sounds ridiculous,
Yeah.
but I mean, you couldn't see through that. There were signs that people were saying that people were out of breath because obviously that's carbon dioxide
Yeah.
in cold form. So people were like out of breath and they weren't able to catch their breath right and stuff like that. There's a lot of that happening there. I tell you, it doesn't sound so far fetched.
All right.
I want to know how much 2 tons of dry ice is going to cost, though.
Probably a shit ton.
Even back then, that would be a crazy amount.
Well, but
And
that's a possibility.
I got 2 for baseball.
All right.
One of them is some people think that Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak of consecutive games played was saved by an intentional power outage.
Because his wife slept with Kevin Costner.
Yep.
That's the reason.
Yep,
I
'cause
know
he got into a fight with Kevin Costner and he was not allowed to play the next game. So a random power failure shut the lights off at Camden Yards where they couldn't play. And then the next day he was good to go.
So I don't know that he wasn't allowed to play. It was just that he wasn't able to play because of his hands.
Yeah.
That was what was the story
then-
was. He was there for the game.
Yep.
And then they had that phantom power outage so he wasn't suspended or anything. He just punched Kevin Costner in the face.
And then the other one and has to do with Pete Rose. And some people think that Pete Rose had a secret agreement to be reinstated to baseball after a lifetime ban.
No,
With the
I
then
don't believe that
Commissioner
even a
Bart-
little bit. That came directly from Pete Rose.
with Bart Giamatti, who was the commissioner at the time.
Right. Who died 8 days later.
Yeah.
You know, he puts the ban on him and then dies 8 days later. And like, oh, there was this secret thing to have him come back. There was no secret thing to have him come back. You know, it was a lifetime ban. And, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
the bigger conspiracy was because he got the lifetime ban, Pete Rose poisoned him.
Yeah, that's the way I was going to go with it, right? It was just like, yeah, it seems like that would be the direction.
8 days later, all of a sudden the guy dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like anytime anybody does anything with the government, they miraculously like forget how to drive and die in a car wreck like the next day. That's not sketchy at all.
Not whatsoever.
Especially when it's consistent. Like everyone forgets how to drive. It's weird.
And think about how many Patriots ones there are. You know,
Yeah.
like just
Spy-
you know, you have Deflategate,
Deflategate.
Spygate, which really went for numerous years and affected a couple of Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, is it a conspiracy once there's like proof?
Well, the conspiracy with that is they think the NFL actually destroyed the evidence from Spygate once they actually found out what the Patriots were doing.
Yes.
I could see that. Them protecting the brand. I mean, that's all
Yeah.
they do anyway. Like that's their whole function.
Like
That's
the reasoning behind that is if it wasn't as bad as what the NFL saw, they probably would have handed down a punishment to the Patriots. But because they saw things a lot worse than they thought they were going to see, they're like, no, fuck this shit. We're destroying this shit and keeping this under wraps.
You can't take away a Super Bowl after it's been played.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the problem. So the winner is the winner, and that's that. I mean, you could think about all the different things that you could put in for Super Bowl 57, even. You know, that, you know, one of the more interesting ones is that I'm going to say her name wrong because I know whoever was the halftime show sang a full extra song to be able to give Patrick Mahomes the time that he needed to be able to get his ankle back under control.
I like this one. MLB strike, keeping the Expos from winning.
But the Expos had a decent team, but
They had a really good team that year.
Yeah, but they weren't in first place. I mean, the Expos were still in the East, and so was Atlanta. If I remember correctly, Atlanta was in first place because it was the Phillies were like in third or fourth place that year. I was after the year that we went to the World Series and lost, obviously.
Oh, here we go. Getting the big tinfoil out. Got terrestrials playing at Area 51. I like it. That's next level.
That's actually a good one.
That is next level.
You know, that Shohei Ohtani is an alien.
I could get into that.
The 1994 season for baseball, when they were talking about that, the Expos were in first place in the division at 74-40. And the Braves were 68-48. So they had an 8-game lead over the Braves.
Got you. Where were the Phillies at then?
Phillies were in fourth.
Yeah. Yeah, Mets were in third, I think.
Yep.
Phillies were in fourth. And who was the fifth? Hold on, let me give me a second. Yeah, because Florida wasn't there.
Yeah, it was Florida's second year. Florida came in 1993.
Got
it was Florida's second year, so they were in last.
I guess that makes sense because that's when Wayne Izenga bought the championship in '97. So, all right, nice. So yeah, I mean, we got some of these that are doing okay. I mean, I like this. I mean, I've heard about the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs, that he threw it. You know, besides the fact that Billie Jean King was one of the best women tennis players in the world, and he was like 36. The fact that he still was like he gave up on some balls here and there and stuff like that. He might have even been older than that. He might have been like 46. I heard about that one. That was, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know who Billie Jean King could have beaten and probably still could beat? Me playing tennis. I bet you she would kill me playing tennis.
No doubt.
You know? And that would show women's dominance over men. End of story. So
another NBA one was basically the NBA rigging the draft that got Cleveland Kyrie Irving after LeBron James left, knowing that Cleveland got nothing in return for LeBron James out of it, so they rigged it to it. Let's get him something.
Okay.
Well, like I said, whether the NBA.
There's always this one. The NFL wanting to give the Bucs a Super Bowl, stole it from the Hawks, worst officiating ever. One of the very few times that officials put out an apology. So,
well, and how's that ring around the apology?
Yeah,
super good. A nice ring.
Super good. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine. You know, and actually I was in Detroit for that Super Bowl actually.
Yeah.
I went to Detroit and hung out with some friends and just did the tailgate. I still have the Super Bowl XL hat.
Nice.
You know, I didn't really know who the Seahawks were. I didn't really care at that point. You know, it was like, oh, Pittsburgh's in it. I guess Pittsburgh's going to win because that's what they do. They win Super Bowls. And that was what? Ben's first Super Bowl, correct?
Yes.
Was it? Oh, yeah, no, it was, because then he went and beat the Cardinals for his second one.
Yep. And then he lost to the Packers like a year after beating the Cardinals or 2 years later.
Yep.
So yeah, but they wanted to give the bus a Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know, there are a lot of different things. I mean, there could be a bad officiating crew, but I have watched teams win through some of these bad officiating crews.
Oh, no
Mhm.
You
question.
know,
Yeah.
like, and that's part of some of the things that have to occur. That's what makes sports still. The script could be rewritten.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you the one that kind of really sets it a lot and maybe created the reason why the script needed to change in 2017. The Eagles on Thursday night played Carolina, and Carolina still had what's his face
Cam.
as the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you, and it was actually a really good Thursday night game because we were like 4-1, and they were like 4-1. So it was like not something that you would typically see on a Thursday night game.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Good game. Yeah.
and the refs literally gave every call to Carolina. It was ridiculous. And the Eagles just kept fighting through it and ultimately won the game.
Mhm.
And it was one of the only times that I can remember where a team actually fought through what would be considered the script
Yeah.
Yeah.
to win. So
Yeah.
sometimes, even though the conspiracy is in place, it's not able to work out.
Well, yeah, because even if the conspiracy's there, you're not going to get the players to buy off on it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So, and there was a time. If you go back in time and you remember the Robert Kraft scandal, correct?
yeah. Uh,
So here's a conspiracy that I announced out loud. I said that this is exactly what this is, and you could say whether you believe me or not, because I can't tell you, because I don't live in this world. But for real, the thing with Robert Kraft was some high level gamesmanship between owners of the Miami Dolphins and uh, the Patriots. And if you look at everything that occurred during that timeline, they made a very weird trade for nothing, just about. There was a whole bunch of stuff that occurred between the two of them, but you know how hard it is to stage a raid to coincide with the owner of a football team being in the building.
right. Yeah.
That's not a random act.
Yeah.
That is absolutely done on purpose. And I think that was done specifically by the Dolphins ownership. And because it all came out, remember they traded that wide receiver for like nothing.
Mhm.
And the Dolphins also got like docked something. And then Kraft shot back and had something happen with the owner there. You look at all the stuff that kind of happened between the two of them. That's not I don't think it's a conspiracy. You could make it a conspiracy if you want, but
Yep.
that was just high level gamesmanship that we got to witness and nobody got to know anything about. Like, it was just all stories that we kept hearing about.
Yeah.
But that was high level gamesmanship, $1 billion gamesmanship. I find that stuff awesome.
No, for sure. Well, and I mean, kind of down that road, this is a different take on KC getting NFL help, not to just help them win a Super Bowl, but to keep Taylor on TV because she brings all that extra money to the league. Also, I mean, I could see that. I mean, what last year they were saying she was worth roughly 335 mil to the league just being shown on TV during
Yep.
games.
Yep.
So, I mean, I could see the league being like, oh, let's make a call here and there to keep them in all the primetime slots.
Well, they only have 6 of them.
Yeah, but you can flex into them.
Yeah, you
can
flex.
can. Yeah, I can't see that all occur. I just can't see it all happen. I listen. I understand. Because are
Hey,
they
300 mil is a lot.
300 mil is a
are they
lot.
about to do the next undefeated season?
I don't think so. I
I don't think so either. But
I think they win this weekend only because the Niners are so beat up.
aren't they too though?
They're
He's
kind of
still
not.
very beat it.
So like they have some guys that are hurt, right? That are on IR. So if you count the guys that are on IR, they have like 6 people that are injured, whether they're missing time or they're doubtful for this game, right? The Niners have like 20.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that realistically, KC is one of the healthier teams in the league, despite having, a couple of injuries. Like, you may not like their receiving core, but that's not really because they're all hurt. Like, they have one guy that's hurt
Mm-hmm.
in Rice. So, I mean, it's weirdly, I think they have a better shot this weekend. Like, if the Niners were healthy, I'd take the Niners to win just because KC isn't actually that great of a team. But with all the injuries they have, I think KC gets this win on the road.
So, all right.
Joe-
How about this one? That the mob is who actually runs the NFL, and that any bet that ranks over like 80% automatically goes the opposite way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they can explain it. Like, for instance, it was 80% for Patrick Mahomes that one game to rush for more than 13 yards or something like that. And he had 17 yards, and that everybody was betting on the over. And then he took 3 kneel downs.
Smacks. Oh yeah.
Those
That's
couple
right.
of kneel downs, he ran
right.
backwards a few yards and stuff like that, so that it was like 13 and a half. He wound up at 11 instead of at 18. That's a real bad beat. Like, they can go small. Like, small ones happen all the time.
Mhm.
It's a reason why you always see the bad beat blogger come out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could make that same conspiracy that anytime an entire TV panel picks a team, that team automatically loses.
Yes.
Yeah. $1 billion net worth would not shock me. Her last tour did that all on its own.
Multi-billions.
She's worth like $3 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Really more good for Travis.
Kelsey's income is a rounding error for hers.
Exactly. So, but I mean, I think that there got to be other conspiracies. I know that we could look them up on Google, and trust me, I've been looking them up. But there's some obscure ones that.
Yeah, that's why I was having people throw them in the comment section here. We got the Olive Liston.
The Phantom Punch.
Phantom Punch.
Yeah, I remember that one. There's a number of different ones. The fact that really Michael Jordan's flu game wasn't the flu at all. It was the Irish flu.
Yeah. Yeah, what they were saying, there's another one for the same thing, that it was like poisoned pizza. Like he was poisoned before the game.
How about the rumors? I mean, I don't know if you can call it a conspiracy or not. Rumors that somebody had to call the plays in the Dolphins huddles half the time that Marino was out there, because he had so much of a cocaine jaw.
I mean, he is Miami.
He would be going a mile a minute and couldn't talk, and somebody else had to call the play.
Just out there licking his teeth. I like it.
I guess so. I mean, you think about all of that. Like, you think about the Mets. What was it? The '86 Mets. You know, that
Yeah,
team
they actually were coked out.
that team won it on cocaine. They literally most of that team was on blow.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The fact that Strawberry was the one they centered in on was hilarious because, like, you could have just rounded the whole team up.
well, Lenny Dykstra, I'm sure was the guy getting it all. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Because he was always very well attached. Doc Gooden, like the rumor was when Doc Gooden went to go try out for the Mets that he wore um, a spike and a construction boot. And
Okay.
he put weights in the construction boot because that's how was his leg coming forward, and then he would have weights in the construction boot because it would give him 3 or 4 extra miles per hour on his pitch.
Huh. I mean, all right.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, again, I don't think that's a conspiracy. It might be a rumor or anything, but that sounds about right. Like, listen, you're trying to do anything you can
Sure.
to help out. You know what I mean? It's like if you could, if 2 extra pounds in your shoe
Yeah.
made you pitch mile per hour, 2 miles per hour faster, yeah, I'd wear it.
Yeah.
Why not? Why wouldn't I wear it?
Stack that with some roids, all of a sudden you got like 5 to
Well,
8.
speaking of roids, that is another conspiracy theory that was going around for a long time, that Major League Baseball not only knew that players were taking steroids, but they specifically asked Jose Canseco to buy and provide the players steroids because he had the hookup for them in the first place.
I mean, he's alluded to that on his own.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, for how much Major League Baseball like try to get all these players in trouble after like that 5-year window, where I'll say to this day that 5-year window was ultimately what saved baseball, because baseball was dying up until that point. And then once that 5-year stretch happened where baseball saw the growth they wanted to see, they just wanted to put the clamp down on everything. And Jose Canseco was like, no, screw that. You wanted me to do this. You wanted me to provide this shit. I'm going to try to take you down with me if you're taking everybody else down.
Well,
Yeah.
and also, you could also say that that's where baseball lost control of it, because it wasn't until the cream and the clear came out.
The injections in the pill is what Canseco provided. The cream was something else that he never provided, but by that time
that was Bonds.
Yep.
Bonds was the one actually providing all of that.
Balco.
Because Balco, that is exactly correct. So that in total. There's a conspiracy that the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't talk about this, about the fake interpreter or anything like that. And,
I mean, you have to. You got to touch on that one, especially if they go on to win a ring.
Yeah, I don't think they have looking at the Yankees, it's going to be a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, especially the way they just beat down the Mets yesterday.
Well, not only that, I think they have been doing everything they can to put Ohtani and Judge on the same field.
Sure.
At the biggest of stages. That's so, and I think that, and then on top of that, you have Soto. Like, Soto is really so much better than Judge is. Like, just so much better.
Far more consistent.
And I think he's going to be back. And I think he's going to be back. He's going to be, back in the NL East next year. Cohen is going to buy him.
Well, someone said Toronto was planning on making Juan Soto like some astronomical number, whatever that means.
Yeah, I still think that Cohen's going to be the one that gets him.
And of course,
he's not going to go to Toronto. You don't send Soto to Toronto.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you would do that. Like, you'd give him to somebody else before then.
You keep him in New York.
Well, I mean,
put him
sure,
with the Mets.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You put him with the Mets.
Yeah. And of course, all these conspiracies brought to you in part by True Fusion Gym right here in the Pacific Northwest. If you use the QR code on the screen, get a free 5-day pass at any of the 3 locations: Bellevue, Ballard, University Village. Bar, hot camp, boot camp, yoga. Just cannot talk today. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And of course, if you want to bet on the Judge and Otani series, because inevitably that's what's coming, go to BetUS right there on the QR code on the screen. Bet alongside us here at Coast to Coast. 125% of your initial 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee if you happen to lose. Restrictions do apply. Again, use the QR code and bet right alongside us. All right. Seemed like a good time to jump that in there.
There you go.
All right. Bobby Thompson home run in 51.
I couldn't even answer that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. I feel like Stat Guy should have that, right?
1951? No, not that one.
Come on.
That's how much of a conspiracy theory it is. Nobody knows about it.
Damn it. I'm trying to. I was looking to possibly go see Elon Musk today.
Okay. I feel like we need more context.
So Elon Musk is in my town.
Okay.
Right now, currently. And he's having a town meeting at 4:00. Now, I don't know what he's going to be doing in Folsom. Like, what's the purpose of coming to Folsom, Pennsylvania? He's actually going to my old high school, my old alma mater, and that's where he's going to be talking from.
I know the theory that he's talking about now in 1951. I just didn't recognize the player's name.
Oh,
the home run that was heard around the world. That's what that home run was known for. It was the pennant clinching home run for the Giants in the 1951 World Series. The theory behind it was that the Giants were using sign stealing, and somebody told Bobby Thompson what pitch was coming on his walk-off. Well, someone told Bobby Thompson what pitch was coming on his walk-off 3-run homer that he hit. And then like a couple years after that, they interviewed Bobby Thompson about it, and he insisted that he didn't know like what pitches were coming, but there's evidence that has come out that says that the Giants were using some sort of sign stealing during the second half of that World Series.
Hey, listen, you know what else? Houston also cheated.
Oh,
hey, don't take my shirt off. Don't take my shirt off. I've got my thing underneath here.
Yeah. I don't want to mess up my chain. Yeah. Nobody's believing that. Right. So anyway, Musk is there. That's interesting. It seems like something you go to just morbid curiosity.
A little bit.
Like what kind of weird is going to be there?
I keep, I think there's going to be a lot of ridiculous people there. I'm just not sure if, like initially I was like, oh, this is ridiculous enough. Maybe I should get painted up. And then I'm like, no, I don't need to be painted up for that.
Paint up as the Tesla truck. Solid silver.
Those trucks are so gross.
I mean, they always make me think of, remember the original Twisted Metal? Like it looks like that kind of graphics.
I love that game.
So I haven't received a ticket, and they said they would let me know by noon today. But I'm like, why wouldn't you? You would want me there. You would absolutely want me there. Why not?
Sure.
So, yeah. But whatever. Not no ticket for me.
I mean, could still happen, I suppose.
Well, maybe. I doubt it because it said I would know by noon today. I don't know. Maybe I could sneak in. I have some pull there. As the As the most famous nobody here in Ridley Township, can I come back to my school at 4 o'clock this afternoon? Just because I've never been to one of these types of rallies before, and I'd be interested to see just kind of what I mean. I got to imagine it's going to be such a shit show.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's why you go, is the people watching alone, right? Like, I would love if Walmart had an upstairs bar that you could like go and drink and watch the doorbuster people run in and like fight over TVs and stuff. Like, I would go to that bar. I have no interest in any of their deals, but I would go up there and drink and watch people do dumb stuff. I think that'd be hilarious.
I mean, you could be like my brother-in-law and just work at Walmart for Black Friday and literally, you know what the meta glasses are?
No. I see it. There's zero chance I want to be involved in it.
No, but you know what the meta glasses are?
Those
Yeah.
Ray-Ban glasses that
Yeah,
that record.
Yeah, he wears those for Black Friday and like records it on his Facebook when people go in for the doorbuster shit. And it's the funniest thing ever.
That's kind of rad. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be down in the mix because I would immediately be done peopling after about 2 seconds. But
Well, he doesn't people. He just stands there, just watches all the chaos happen, and just once the chaos is over, then he's like, "Well, that was fun."
yeah, well, but then he still has to like clean up after it and everything. Whereas I would have my feet up watching over the railing.
Well, that's what you do. You sign on to his thing and then you just watch.
Yeah.
You could just crack a beer or a Bloody Mary that early in the morning.
Yep.
And just be like, okay, here we are. Yeah, because I love watching the people race.
Right. They're just
racing.
going and they're like tugging on TVs and socking each other, and you're just like, man, it's really not that serious. Like
The best one was at when I still work retail, but I work overnights for a part-time job, so I don't deal with people anymore. But when I was an assistant manager at the old hardware store that I worked, that we had like I forgot what it was, but it was like something that was normally like $700-800 that was on sale for like $250 for Black Friday. Like freaking, it was a zoo for the people to get that. Some lady came in, like some lady was trying to beat a bunch of other people there, and she came in with a taser. And as she tried to taser the group of people in front of her, she ended up tasering an outlet.
that is fantastic.
She fried herself real good, and half of the store lights went out.
That's funny.
See,
you know,
that's where
I
she needed.
think here's what they should do.
That's where
I
she
think
needed to help her with night vision.
It was amazing. I was trying so hard not to laugh, but it was hilarious.
I like the idea. Here's what you do: you get the most coveted thing, and you put it on the top on this ridiculous high shelf that you can't get to except by climbing this rope that is layered in Vaseline. And just watch people try to get up there, getting people pulling them down and stuff like that. Where
It's a Diddy box set. I like it.
That would be hysterical. I'd love watching that. Like that's like watching those races up the steps with all the soap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The sliding races where they're just about at the top. Oh no! Boom, 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 boom! No, back down to the bottom again. So
yeah, they're like chucking the like exercise balls at them and stuff.
Well, that's Wipeout. That's a whole different scenario. But
yeah, I gotcha.
This is like the races. The Japanese have some weirdo game shows. So
no. They have those, and when they get close to the top, they either have stairs that move, or they like.
Yeah, they usually
like
are spraying them with
them.
something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they gotta hit the button to be able to get up top, and then once they're up top, they stay up there and they move on. And it's just there can be only one. You know, so
I mean, last year Home Depot had like a bunch of like gun safes on sale for Black Friday, and someone really didn't want to wait in the line, so a random guest got on the forklifted a gun safe on the forklift, and drove the forklift out the store.
I mean, all right. You wear that Halloween Home Depot uniform, nobody really knows.
It was. I'm just seeing some of the crazy shit up here in Wisconsin for Black Friday. It's just absolutely freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the answer right there. It's Wisconsin.
It's like a national pastime up here on Black Friday stupidity.
Oh, it's not only there. Everywhere gets to watch it.
Yeah,
So-
we have people that literally sit outside of stores for a week up here. Like they put their freaking tents and folding chairs down on damn Sunday evening. Like, why would you sit here 5.5 fucking days?
Yeah, I mean that doesn't make sense. I mean, they would do that here. We don't really have Black Friday the way we used to, though.
Now everything can be done online, so a lot of the Black Friday stuff now you can purchase online on Friday morning. So half the people stay at the stores anyways.
Well, and a bunch of them open Thursday night.
Yep.
Like it's now like midnight on, so technically still Friday, or they'll open at like 10 p.m. for their doorbuster deals. So it kind of doesn't have the same feel, but it was always really kind of entertaining. I never went out to them because I just don't care. I'll spend the more and not deal with that craziness. But it's like, oh, it's $100 more. It's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to deal with all the bullshit.
Yeah, well, and
I am not. I'm not getting up that early to go get. Like, think about this. They were running for Cabbage Patch Kids at one point.
Yeah,
Furbies.
That's exactly the one I was thinking. I was like, they were doing it for Furbies. I'm like, what are we doing right now? Right? But you guys have all of that.
Squishmallows.
Yeah, well, and it's always something dumb. Even if you think it's the TVs or whatever, you're just like, okay, like I'm
But
good.
now it's like the Xbox Fives.
Sure. But even still, it's just like, yeah, I just don't care.
Yeah, the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, the PlayStation 5 was a huge one. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, I don't. I'll pay more and not waste half my day and be aggravated the whole time. It's like, yeah, I'm good. And then potentially still not even end up with one.
Right. And then trying to find all the parking that goes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want no part. Yeah, hard pass.
Yeah, because you have people outside waiting for you to come out with your thing.
And mug you. Exactly. Yeah. No, like there's zero parts of that whole situation that I want to be a part of. Now I'll watch it on YouTube after the fact, laughing. But yeah, in real time, I'm good.
I get it. So, but you know what? That's why these things occur. So, anyways, for anybody else who does think of a conspiracy theory that they would like to do, message me with it. Any conspiracy theory. Hey, listen, do me a favor. I am already doing the Google thing. So if you are Googling the top 10 or the top 20, I've already seen them. You know, I'm looking for more obscure. I know that Jimmy Hoffa was buried under, Giant Stadium. You know what I mean? They dug him up. He's dead still. So, but yeah, I don't need to know. I don't need that one. You know what I mean? Or like similar ones. But there are a number of different ones that I don't know about, like urban legend ones that would be awesome if you guys could tell me about them.
Right on.
Nice.
And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our content to you. And of course, if you're on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. For me, I will see you guys in 2 hours for the Pick'em Show. Other than that, see you all tomorrow.
Pick them well.
That's the goal.